Biz hammamiz bir Turki. Biz hammamiz bir Turki. Turkistanning farzandi. Uyg'urlarning makoni, Sharqi Turkistonim qini. Ay yulduz bayrog'i bor, Sharqi Turkistonim qini. Ay yulduz bayrog'i bor, Sharqi Turkistonim qini. Bayrağımız kök edim, ortası da ayıba. Batırlarımız kök edim, kılıç kalkan yayba. Tağlarımız igiz edim, altın kümüs sayba. Saylarımız kang edim, tulparları tayba. Uyg'urlarning makoni, Sharqi Turkistonim qini. Ay yulduz bayrog'i bor, Sharqi Turkistonim qini. Tekli makan şöyle ba, buğda bağraş kül bay. Ay yulduz bayrağı ba, Sharqi Turkistonim meni. Ay yulduz bayrağı ba, Sharqi Turkistonim mening. Ay yulduz bayrağı ba, Sharqi Turkistonim mening. Sharqi Turkistonim mening.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We, the people of East Turkestan, now like to announce the parliament and the constitution of the East Turkestan government in exile. 50 years ago, August 17, 1949, a plane carrying the leaders of the Republic of Eastern Turkestan crashed under mysterious circumstance. When the news reached to Beijing, Mao Zedong sent in the communist military and the occupation of East Turkestan began. Throughout the intervening years, many have come to the aid and comfort the oppressed and tried to spread their message of pain and anguish, sold by the hope of freedom and independence for what was once a flourishing civilization. However, the communists continuously and brutally snuffed out every candle, silenced every voice, and killed any flowers of hope they could find. For years, the people of East Turkestan have wondered, does anyone hear them? Is there a voice abroad for East Turkestan? Is there any entity, a government, an authority that speak for them? That wondering, that longing has ended. East Turkestan has found its voice again. So that the international community, particularly the United States of America, help us establishing and amplifying that voice. We, the East Turkestani community in exile, established a government of the Republic of East Turkestan in exile. We strongly believe that we can bring hope again to and be a voice for the Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and Tajik, and all other oppressed people of East Turkestan suffering under communist regime. My country is known to Chinese as a Xinjiang province. That fact alone explains much of this letter's or this declaration's purpose. Certain assumptions come from calling this region Xinjiang. The most basic is that it is part of China. And from that flowed the assumption that its native speaks Chinese and that they look like East Asians, that they come out of a Confucian tradition and so on. All of these assumptions are wrong. As the name East Turkestan implies, or as you can see, their face, the face of my people, they are not Chinese. And that the West region, in addition to that, West region has for centuries, have been the land of East Turkestan Turks, who are Muslim by faith, Caucasian by race, and whose native language is not remotely related to Chinese. Ask my fellow Eastern Turkestanis to speak. It's not Chinese. Turkic languages, but different tribes, like Uyghur tribes of Turkic, Uyghur Turkic, Kazakh Turkic, and Kyrgyz Turkic, so on. But we are one nation, but divided by our ruler, the Chinese, at this present time. East Turkestan, which had remained an independent state for many years, centuries, was invaded and conquered by the Qing Empire in 1759. During the years which followed, the native people rebelled on numerous occasions against their distant rulers. In 1864, the Turkic people successfully chased the Manchus from their motherland. Their independent state, which for most of 2 decades established diplomatic relations with the Ottoman Empire, Russia, and Great Britain. The Manchu Empire again gained control of East Turkestan in the early 1880s, declaring on November 18, 1884, that East Turkestan was China's 19th province. It was at this time that the imperial viceroy, Zhou Zongtang, officially gave the land its Chinese name, Xinjiang or Xinjiang. This new name means the new territory or the new dominion in Chinese. But it is not a new dominion or new boundary for us. We call it East Turkestan. The struggle of the East Turkestani people for control their land has continued in the 20th century. The 1933 Communal Rebellion led to the creation of an East Turkestan Islamic Republic. A second major uprising in 1944 was also briefly successful, leading to the creation of East Turkestan Republic, which maintained its independence until 1949, when Soviet and Chinese forces combined to crush it. Since this most recent takeover, Beijing has strengthened its occupation of my homeland. Since then, East Turkestan has become a dungeon for its people. China has been constantly violating the human rights of the East Turkestanis, arresting, torturing, and killing the innocent. Hundreds of thousands of East Turkestanis who have bravely challenged the Chinese authorities have been executed and still executing publicly. Many have fled to neighboring countries. Hundreds of thousands have been sent to labor camps. The control of East Turkestani population is enforced ruthlessly. Many thousands of families have suffered from forced sterilization, forced abortions, and economic penalties. Beijing's policy toward my country has moved beyond control toward the complete assimilations. In recent years, China has moved millions of Han Chinese into eastern Turkestan, seeking to dilute the true native populations. Those who arrive from China are given the best jobs and the best pay and the best housing, all at the expense of the millions of East Turkestanis. Beijing has attacked East Turkestani culture, including our religion. In these days, we are not allowed to have our education in our native language. It was okay about 5 years ago to have our education in our native language, Uyghur or Kazakh or Kyrgyz. But right now, it's prohibited. It's banned. It's illegal to conduct my history lesson in my native language. If I have a teacher, my history in my native language, then it's against law. It will be persecuted or punished, and this is the fact. In addition to that, our religion is banned. The Chinese law says that every citizen of China has the right to practice its religion. But it's not true. In reality, it's not true. If you go to my homeland, East Turkestan, many mosques, in front of the many mosques, there's a sign or a banner saying that anybody who is under 18 is not allowed to enter the mosque. You understand what it means. This is the situation. This is the reality. And my people doesn't have the right to go abroad. They are just captives. They are just inmates of the communist China. In short, our entire land turned into the dungeon. Whole East Turkestan became a dungeon for us. And the whole East Turkestani people, Uyghur, Kazakh, and Kyrgyz, and the Tajiks, and so on, are the captives or inmates. In addition to that, Turkestanis are forced to speak, read, write, Chinese, and to dress, eat, sing, dance, and behave as if they are Chinese. Beijing claims to respect its minorities, but we who have lived under their rule know that their real policy is one of genocide. Their goal is clear. One day, there must be only Chinese in Xinjiang, so-called Xinjiang in the map. China's lack of respect for the people of my country have been equaled by its disregard for the very land of eastern Turkestan. We have become a dumping ground for China's environmental waste. Lopnor, a region known well by our government, by your government, by anybody's government in the world, is far more than a research center. It has become a profoundly toxic site of nuclear waste. We will never know how many lives have been prematurely ended by nuclear radiation, but how many cancers have been spawned, how many children have been born with deformities, it's unknown, but we know that there are many, and many, thousands. The count of my own people is that there have been 500,000 deaths from the radiation alone. As the diplomats and the journalists of the free world tell you, Beijing doesn't want the world to know of its treatment of the East Turkestani people. They prefer to carry on their repression out of the sight of the world. It's true. As I said before, every single sentence or every single word what I say has a evidence, profound evidence. For instance, if China doesn't hide anything, how many journalists are able to travel East Turkestan or Tibet, for instance, freely, wherever they want to go, whomever they want to contact with? It's impossible. This is the profound example. Even sometimes U.S. government has a hard time gathering information about the fact in eastern Turkestan. In the past, on many occasions, the U.S. embassies, the political bureau of U.S. embassy in Beijing contact me and ask me to provide information about the situation in our homeland. So Beijing doesn't want the world to know of its treatment of East Turkestani people. They prefer to carry on their repression out of the sight of the world. I just want to mention again. When the U.S. Embassy called me, Mr. Trani, could you provide some information about that? Because we have a hard time gathering information about fact. We tried to contact with the Chinese. I mean that the local officials, government officials, or regional officials, or that the native Uyghur people or Kazakhs, to get some information about the situation, political situation, or the unrest in your homeland. But they don't want to talk to us. They just want to talk to us. They reject us. Then we just want to, talk to the ordinary people of Eastern Turkestan, in Kashgar, in Altai, or Guljar, in Kucha somewhere. But it's impossible for us to approach them, to ask them to give us information. It's impossible. So, at this time, please help us. If you gather any information about what's going on, we will be appreciated. So this is the sign that this is the best example of our activism. Not only we serve for the sake of our people is Turkistanis, but we serve for the sake of the US government, for the sake of the US public, for the sake of the whole international community in terms of gathering information and providing information. Now, we set up our government in exile, still for the same purpose, gathering information and distributing information to educate the international community, to offer our help to resolving some most sensitive issues, most important issues, like in terms of identifying who the real terrorists are, who are behind the real terrorists are. And it is Communist China, and we have the evidence of that. Many people say that Osama bin Laden is helping or trying to help for these Turkistani people get their independence or, launch war. It might be true, but I don't have any evidence. There's no sign that Osama bin Laden is trying to help us. For about 1 decade right now, ever since Osama bin Laden reappeared in Afghanistan, 1995, right? I didn't hear anything from Osama bin Laden saying that, there's somebody, a nation is crying, and orphanage nations, helpless nations just need help. And he never mentioned anything. Of course, he mentioned the other causes, like the general cause of the Muslim people. As the best example, the cause of Palestine. But he never mentioned about us. I'm so sad about that. If somebody wants to help the oppressed nation, if somebody wants to help the oppressed Muslim people, anybody must tell something about us. I'm not saying that we need all types of support. We don't need any terroristic support, killing innocent people. But we need help to get our independence from anything, from any way, by any means, except terroristic act, killing innocent people. Even we propose many beautiful proposals to our neighbor, China. Last night, I and Lloyd Miller, we just prepared something about some proposal. And Lloyd is going to present his proposal, how we can resolve this issue without any bloodshed, without any killing, without any persecution, without making, the people of China, unhappy. We don't have any problem with many ordinary Chinese citizens, as long as they give us what we want. They listen to us and they work with us. First of all, they must recognize the independence of our homeland. And then we work together. We have some group of East Turkistani people in abroad, especially, as you know, the East Turkistan, Dünya Uyghur Kurultayı, the World Uyghur Congress, for instance. They have different strategies. They want to work with anybody to bring democracy to China. And I respect that. I also do the same thing. But I do something our government do something what the World Uyghur Congress doesn't. For instance, World Uyghur Congress doesn't promote independence, just autonomy. But I still respect their ideas or the opinion, because we are democratic Republic of East Turkestan. We respect that. But as the government in exile of Eastern Turkestan, we address the world that we want independence. We want independence. We have autonomy right now, but autonomy is only in the paper. It's fake. It doesn't work. It's just pass fire, which is put to the international community that this nation has the autonomic status. They have everything, but it's not true. As I told you, some example, right? Nobody has the right to travel. If somebody wants to get a passport, Chinese passport, it takes decades. If he is lucky, he has money, he has any way. Otherwise, there's no way somebody will go to abroad. Why? The rest of the citizens of China is granted a passport in 1 week. It shouldn't be more than 1 week. But for us, it's difficult. Like an inmate, we are not allowed anywhere. For instance, my parents wants to come to the United States to visit me. My father is 80 years old, my mom is 70 years old. They are not allowed to leave the country because of what I am doing. They are not allowed to get a passport. And this is true for thousands of people, especially if somebody has relatives, sons or daughters, anybody in the US. So, as the diplomats and the journalists, not only I am telling the fact, as the diplomats and the journalists of the free world tell you, Beijing doesn't want the world to know of its treatment of the Eastern Turkestani people. They prefer to carry on their repression out of sight of the world. Even when the natural disasters strike, China seeks to withhold information, fearing that aid workers will convey to Americans and others, the international community, the ongoing horrors of China's occupations. East Turkestanis seeks to determine their own future. They're distinct in every way as a people. They seek the right to select their leaders and control their fate as do other nations around the world. We turn to the free world, the international community, and the United States as the most important of those nations. The people of East Turkestan turn to the United States and the international community as well. So many others seeking freedom and self-determination have done over the years. We seek that the free world and the United States raise our voice on behalf of the millions of Eastern Turkestanis whose voices are kept silent. We ask that the world, all of the free world, make clear to Beijing that human rights, including human rights of Eastern Turkestan, matter to US. What I am saying is that it's not the only thing what we want, human rights. When we talk about human rights, our self-determination or independence is our basic human rights. If you have anything and everything but your freedom, your liberty, or your independence, then we feel we don't have anything. Until today, we lost everything because we don't have the independence. We ask the international community, the United States, and the Republic of Turkey for instance, and Great Britain, Japan, and so on, all of the international community, to press the United Nations to itself investigate, or themselves to investigate the just cause of Eastern Turkistani people, and working directly with their true representative. It is us, the East Turkistani government in exile. The East Turkistani government in exile, not the puppet appointed by the Beijing, or not with somebody who was loyal to the Beijing government. We asked the international community to continue its pressure that China truly end its nuclear test, even though it said that ended, but I don't believe that. And end its use of our region as a dumping ground for nuclear waste. We ask the international community, the United States, for instance, seek the right to visit the prison and the labor camps scattered throughout our homeland. For instance, the United States already has laws preventing the import of goods made by prison labor. Much of that labor is to be found in our homeland. The East Turkistani people ask only to control their own fate. We seek to join the international community of nations in openness and peace. We seek to share our plentiful natural resources with the people of the world. We seek to share our plentiful natural resource with the people of the world. They must not be seen as a private preserve of Beijing. We turn to the international community. We turn to the about 200 independent states, including China, especially to the United States of America, to the leaders of the Central Asian republics, Turkic republics, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Azerbaijan, and as one of the model of the Turkic people, Turkic country, we turn to the Republic of Turkey to raise the cause of Eastern Turkestan, to raise the existence of the government of Eastern Turkestan, and to contact with us, approach us to get any information in terms of writing it is law. How do we deal with China? How to deal with the rest of the world? And we must play an important role, because with our such a wasteland, like presently it's seen as in the map, it's just too big. It consists of 1/6 of China's land. Our population is about 30 million. And we are totally in different nation with our culture, distinct culture, and history. So we turn to the international community to help us, so that we will help the international community to resolve such a complex matters anytime, because we are also the member of the international community, regardless of our current status, independence or not. We feel that we are an independent state. At least, I mean, we are trying to tell the world that what we want, how to deal with the international community. Thank you very much.